And if the world is worried about flying objects and balloons from China, wait till you hear this. China wants to triple its nuclear arsenal. Reports say the plan has been cleared by Xi Jinping himself. How many warheads does Beijing want? At least 900 by 2035. China has a stockpile of around 400 warheads today. They're rapidly expanding it. Let me show you some pictures. Experts say China is building 200 new missile silos. They're also building nuclear submarines and air-delivered nuclear weapons. The plan is ambitious and dangerous. Beijing is said to be working on weapons like this one, a nuke to take out satellites in space. Last year, Chinese military scientists conducted a test. They ran a computer experiment, a simulation of a nuclear blast in space. These scientists have created a model. It evaluated the performance of nuclear anti-satellite weapons. What was the outcome of the experiment? A nuclear blast would create a radioactive cloud in space. This cloud would be as big as the state of New York, and it could destroy satellites that orbit near the Earth. The US has been watching China's build-up closely, and this is the American assessment of what's going on. A study published by the US Department of Defense in November last year, it said China could have 1,500 nuclear warheads by 2035. That's more than the previous estimate. China is already firing more missiles than anyone else in the world. In 2021, China's rocket forces launched 135 ballistic missiles. That's more than the rest of the world put together, 135. America says the Chinese buildup is a serious threat. How do you think China responded? Listen to this.
I want to stress that the US pointed fingers at China's normal modernization of its nuclear force, made wild speculations, and blatantly tailored a nuclear deterrence strategy for China in this report. China is seriously concerned and firmly opposed to this. We solemnly tell the US that China has the capability and confidence to safeguard its national security interests, and China won't be intimidated by US nuclear blackmail.
So why is China suddenly chasing nukes? One of the reasons is deterrence. Beijing feels threatened by the West. Perhaps the Communist Party will feel safer with more nukes. Also, the bigger arsenal helps put more pressure on adversaries. This is what experts fear. More nukes will make the PLA, the Chinese military, more confident. It could launch dangerous missions like invading Taiwan. How can China use nukes in a potential battle for Taiwan? Experts call this the nuclear backstop strategy. What is the nuclear backstop strategy? China could point its nukes at two targets. First, the region itself, the areas in and around Taiwan, and second, the US mainland. By threatening to attack these two regions, China could push ahead with an invasion of Taiwan. And this is not a hypothetical situation anymore. Beijing demonstrated its capabilities last year when Nancy Pelosi traveled to Taiwan. That visit was historic. Nancy Pelosi was the highest-ranking US lawmaker to visit Taiwan in 25 years. For China, this tour was a provocation. It retaliated with live-fire drills. 11 missiles were launched at that time. These were the Dongfeng 15 ballistic missiles. They fell into the waters around Taiwan. Some of the missiles also flew over the island. Why was this significant? And what was China trying to prove here? Two things. Number one, China showed it could attack US naval vessels if they approached the waters around the island. And number two, these missiles were nuclear capable. Reports say the Dongfeng 15 can carry a nuclear warhead. And that's not the only weapon that the Chinese used. In the days that followed, China sent bombers around Taiwan like this one. It's called the H-6. And this too can carry nukes. This display of nuclear might is a clear provocation for the US. And here's another one. China is making a fresh outreach to Iran. Beijing has invited Ibrahim Raisi, the president of Iran. He'll travel to China tomorrow. It'll be a 3-day visit. China says President Xi extended a personal invite to the Iranian leader. The agenda, we're told, is elaborate. The two leaders will meet for talks, of course. Also traveling with Raisi are Iranian business leaders, and they will meet their Chinese counterparts. But what explains this outreach, and why now? You see, Iran is in dire straits. International sanctions have crushed the country's economy. There is a series of shortage of essential supplies. Plus, there are anti-government protests. The regime is on the back foot. China senses an opportunity here. Iran's nuclear deal with the West is dead. The negotiations remain stalled. The West is unlikely to go easy with Tehran. Enter China. Not very long ago, China signed a $400 billion investment deal with Iran. Now it is consolidating its hold over Tehran. Tomorrow's visit could set the tone for the future. We'll be tracking it.